So let's talk about something that's deeply confusing and, honestly, pretty dangerous. Getting into a relationship with a real-world psychopath. And look, we're not talking about the Hollywood monster with an axe. We're talking about that charming, manipulative person who can hide in plain sight and just quietly take your reality apart piece by piece. Let's really try to get our heads around how this even happens.
You know, one of the first things you almost always hear from someone who's survived one of these relationships is exactly that. It's this universal memory of a start that felt, well, absolutely flawless. Like it was magic. Like you'd finally found your soulmate.
And that right there is the big question, isn't it? What if that incredible, overwhelming, too good to be true perfection isn't a sign of true love at all? What if it's actually the first move in a very calculated game?
Okay, so to really understand this, we have to move way past the stereotypes we see in movies. The real danger of a psychopath isn't that there's some obvious monster, it's their incredible, completely disarming charm. Right, so you've got the myth on one side, the axe-wielding villain. We all know the type. But the clinical reality? It's way more subtle. And honestly, because of that, it's way more dangerous. It's the attractive, smart, socially skilled person who seems completely normal. Heck, even ideal. And that's exactly why they're so effective. They hide right out in the open.
So what are we really talking about here, psychologically speaking? Well, it's a personality structure. And the key ingredients are a profound lack of empathy, a complete inability to feel guilt, and really shallow emotions. They can mimic feelings, but they don't actually feel them. And underneath it all is this insatiable need for control, which is usually hidden behind that very convincing charm.
And that's where their playbook comes in. It all starts with a phase that psychologists call idealization. Now to you, it feels like the greatest romance of your entire life. But from their side, it's a highly calculated process of seduction.
And here is the absolute core difference. This is so important. During this early phase, you think you're building a deep, genuine connection, a bond. But from their perspective, something totally different is going on. They are studying you. They're assessing your needs, your insecurities, your biggest dreams, and they're figuring out exactly what you need to hear.
And this process, it's not random. It usually follows a very clear pattern. First, they assess you. Then they mirror you, basically becoming a perfect reflection of your ideal partner. Next up is the love bombing, just overwhelming you with attention, gifts, and affection. And finally, they rush the intimacy, pushing for serious commitment before you've even had time to see the cracks in the facade.
So what are those early red flags? What does this actually feel like? Well, does the intensity just feel overwhelming? Are they talking about marriage and kids on the third date? Does the speed of it all just feel completely unrealistic? If it does,